Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep When I'm Dead book club discussion for Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. I almost smacked myself with my bookmark. But yes, hello. Hopefully everyone is doing well. We will be talking spoilers. I mean, not right at the very beginning, but let me know if you read the book, what you rated the book in the comment section. We're going to start off with some introductions. Elise, since you are to my right on the screen, you get to go first again. So who are you? What's your channel? What do you like to read? And we're saving our ratings for the very end.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. I'm Elise of Literally Elise here on YouTube as well as over on Instagram. What do I like to read? I like to read a little bit of everything, but my favorites are probably horror, sci-fi, and romantasy.
Nice. I guess my turn. My name's Brandon. So you can find me over on Instagram at Brand the Reader. And I read kind of a mix of everything, to be honest. A little bit of romance, trying to read a bit more of that. Fantasy, horror, thrillers, all the good stuff. That's kind of what I do. So
love to see it. Their channels / Instagrams are in the description box, so make sure you go give them a follow. But hello, in case you have not seen my face before, my name is Jessie. My channel is Reading with Jess. I mostly read thrillers and romance. Every now and then I will read a historical fiction or read a sci-fi or read a contemporary. So I'm open to anything, but thrillers and romance are my bread and butter. So yes. And this is my book club on YouTube. It's Sleep When I'm Dead. We read new release thrillers. I invite different co-hosts. So yeah, so if you haven't already and you're just joining us, leave a star rating down in the comment section. Let me know you're here. We do have like kind of a fun thing to start the discussion off with at first, but we'll get to that in a second. Lauren is here rating it 5 stars. Jules is saying hello. Yvette is ready to hang. I love to see it. She's probably got a glass of wine ready to go. 4 stars. That's my comment. Michelle gave it 4 stars. 3.5 to 4-ish stars from Yvette. Angel gave it 4. Jules also gave it 3. And Sherry gave it 3. Nice. Love to see it. If you have not checked out the Sleep When I'm Dead Discord, I did post something earlier today, as well as some polls for the discussion. There's 3 polls, and those are going to be up for the next 2 days. That's some statistics for some Instagram posts I'm going to do. But I also posted a little confessional where you can actually submit an anonymous confession. It's just one question. It doesn't ask for your name or your email. And you can basically confess to whatever you want. But if you've murdered someone, I do not I cannot protect you. So no serious crimes, but anything that you feel like sharing or that's kind of silly, head on over there. I'll be sharing some of the ones that were mentioned, and you can totally leave a confession even after the discussion. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. I have no idea who is going to go first, but I'm excited. So let me bring... So Elise gets to go first. Let me bring some dramatic music. So, Elise.
My confession is Elise is my middle name, not my first name.
Oh, I don't even know who you are.
I don't think we can be friends anymore.
So sorry, guys. I'm a fraud.
Fraudster. All right. And now, Brandon.
Spotlight.
I know.
All right. Well,
tell me what you did.
Just like Elise, I also have a confession to make tonight. So first, I just want to say, Jessie, thank you so much for providing this platform for me to confess my deepest, darkest crime. I really do appreciate you giving me this opportunity. But with that out of the way, I'm just going to say it because I can't keep this to myself anymore. I just can't. I'm going to go crazy. So I just want to say, that I'm someone who reads multiple books at once.
Oh.
Crazy. I know. Some might think I'm absolutely delusional, but I am working on this, okay? I'm really working on this to be a better person. And I'll have you know, I no longer read 3 books at once. I know, what an accomplishment, right? I actually read 5.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh,
That's all I got.
great.
That's all I got.
All right. My confession. I will dog ear some books, but make fun of people that do. I know.
Yes.
Getting that off my chest was like worth it. Okay, enough of that.
That was wonderful.
Thanks
I
for
loved it.
playing along. If anyone else wants to make a little confession, head on over there. But I'm going to pull up. I actually got 7, and I literally just posted this link like less than an hour ago. So someone has been drinking underage. Someone told their boss they had a doctor's appointment so they could take the day off to play a video game on the release day.
I need to know what video game though.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I've done that, so.
Yeah.
This person said they had an affair with a married man. I love it. Stole money from a couple they babysat for. Love it. This one's a long one. It says, I once accidentally hit the side of a fire alarm at a school dance, and it went off. Everyone had to evacuate the dance and go outside in the cold and dark night. And the fire department came. Oops. Shh. Only my uncle, who was the fireman, knows it was me. This person said stole my mom's cigarettes for 6 months straight when they were a teenager. Did end up getting caught. This person said they exchanged flirty texts for a few weeks with the lead singer of a band that they saw at Warped Tour one summer. Ooh. So I love it. I love that y'all did not hold back on that.
These are spicy.
I know. I love it. Okay. We'll go ahead and get started. Okay. So I chose someone randomly, and Elise was the lucky winner. But do you want to give us a short synopsis of what Tell Me What You Did is about?
I sure do. So this is a very thrillery thriller. We have Poe Webb. She runs a true crime podcast, and it's like really, really popular. And the whole premise is that she has people come on, like her guests come onto her show and anonymously confess to crimes. And it's pretty juicy. One guest, one of these days, comes on and confesses to the unaliving of her mother. Which Poe's like, that's weird because I'm pretty sure I took care of that guy like 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. So then she has to try to figure out, who is this guy? Is it really the guy that did the crime, or is it somebody posing as him? And it gets pretty dark, pretty creepy, pretty twisty.
Yes. Love it. Love it. Okay. Before we jump into the actual questions, some more people jumped in. We got 3 stars. Yvette said, I absolutely have a glass of wine. Cabernet Sauvignon. I'll butcher that name. Sorry. 4 stars. Gwen is here. Excited for the discussion. This was so dramatic. Do you know me? I had no idea, Elise. But what is your first name? She's taking that to the grave. Gwen gave it 3 stars. Same Brandon. Partners in crime. So you're literally not Elise, is what you're saying. Oh, y'all are funny. Who is she really? I know. That's going to be for another book discussion, I guess. Hello. Oh, snap. I knew something was off about him. Okay. So my first question is, have you ever read anything by this author before? And if you have, what have you read? And I don't care who goes first.
I have not. This is my first time with Carter Wilson.
Yeah, I haven't read from him either. So I know when you first asked if we wanted to read this book, I was like, I don't even know who this author is. So
Yeah.
So thank you, because now I know.
Well, it's funny. I picked the book because I was just perusing on NetGalley and I was like, ooh, what is this book? And I was like, oh, this sounds really good. Request. And they denied me. How dare they? I was like, well, I still want to read it. So, but yeah, I haven't read anything else by this author or heard of this author before. He's got, I mean, on the back of my book, it says The Father She Went to Find, The New Neighbor, The Dead Husbands. So I think the author also has his own podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't really look up more, but let me just double check. He is the host of Making It Up podcast and founder of Unbound Writers Company. So, yeah.
Interesting. That's cool.
Okay. So, only using 3 words, how would you best describe this book?
I said sympathetic, discovery, and dark.
Okay. What about you, Elise?
Well, dark was coming to mind, but you just said that. So I will say chilling, nerve-wracking, and oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking on a third one. Just thrilling.
Thrilling. Love
Yeah.
that. For a thriller, I love that. I put page turning as a hyphenated word, so it's 1. Questionable and gripping. So everyone else who's here, let us know your answers to all the questions, but what 3 words would you guys use? Joel says this was first from him. She said, oh wait, I lied. So that's interesting. First from him. I'd like to try another. First time. Nice. I'm glad to hear that y'all want to read more. That's awesome. Confess, Jules. I read The Father She Went to Find, gave it 3 stars. Oh, okay. Nice. I first heard from him from Ashley's Little Library. She read The New Neighbor and enjoyed it. Oh, okay. I did not know that. Dark, secrets, creepy. Chilling, hair standing. I like that. Fast paced and dark. Confession, mysterious, and can't think of another. Entertaining, crime, confessions. Nice. All right, moving on. This book has a focus on the main character's podcast. Do you listen to podcasts? And if so, what types and which ones do you specifically listen to?
You can go first, Elise, if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I listen to Gwen's podcast, obviously, Talk Bookish to Me. But other than that, I do tend to listen to more science-based. So This Podcast Will Kill You and Ologies with Allie Ward are some of my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts too, mostly just like going to and from work or like when I'm cleaning and stuff. But yeah, most of the ones that I listen to are video game related. Like they talk about video game news, all that kind of stuff. Obviously Talk Bookish to Me. And I read it. There's another one, Something Scary. So basically, yeah. So viewers will submit like have you heard of creepypastas before?
Mm-mm.
They're like scary stories that people write and post on the internet. And so they'll submit these stories into the podcast and the hosts will like read them off. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Okay. I listen, obviously, talk bookish to me, which we do have a celebrity in the chat room. Speaking of owners of podcasts, definitely go check out Talk Bookish to Me. I have been on there. I feel like we all have been on her podcast. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah. So we've
Yeah.
all been on her podcast before. So
Are you sure you have been?
me,
Yeah.
I mean, just
I don't
maybe once.
recall.
Maybe once or twice. I don't know. I also like Serial. I haven't listened to many true crime podcasts because I really got into a kick of like true crime. But usually it's just talk bookish to me. And then I also listen to Unsolicited Advice as well. So that one's really cool. You can like submit for like advice, but also they talk about like a little bit of true crime as well. So let's see what everyone else said. TDTL, Edge of Seat and Therapeutic. That actually stood for Too Dumb to Live. Love that. Intense, dark, and reflective. True Crime and Gwen's. I have in the past true crime, scrapbooking, and books. I didn't know scrapbooking had podcasts, but that's cool. That's cool. Survivors podcast. I used to listen to that when I was really into the show. Can I get into podcasts? I have too many books I need to listen to. Well, I would start with book podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Brandon. Give us your top video games.
Gosh. Anything Legend of Zelda. Anything
That's a good
Mario, Pokemon. I'm a Nintendo guy through and through, so
Nice. Behind the Bastards. Nice. I'll have to look that one up. I'm very intrigued. Maybe once. I listen to some true crime and bookish podcasts, but most of the time prefer audiobooks. Totally get that. Elite. Love that for you. Okay. So we went over that. Have you read, or how did you read this book? And if you listened to the audiobook, do you feel like it was needed or added anything extra to the story?
I did listen to the audio and read it physically, but I think mostly audio because there'd be times that I'd get up and clean or something, and I didn't want to stop reading it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was needed and necessary because of that, but I'm sure with the short chapters and just how fast paced it was, like it could have been easily consumed purely physically.
Yeah, I only read it physically. Well, I had like the ebook, but yeah, physically. I did not have the audiobook, but I feel like it would have been an interesting experience. I'm not sure if they had dual narrators or if it was just one person, but yeah.
Yeah, it had two, and I really liked it because you had like what was currently being like live streamed, and it would go back and forth, and it would have both, right? It would have both narrators going at the same time.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
During the podcast
between Ian and Poe, and then in the past it was just Poe. So I mean, I don't think it was necessary, but I do feel like I consumed it a lot more. Also, like the last half of the book, I didn't even pick up the book just because, again, cleaning, getting things done, all that sort of things. But I really enjoyed the audiobook, especially with it being told by two narrators. Official Friends, those are great games. Interesting. Listen to Books Unbound and The Cult I Left Behind. Ooh, I bet that one's good. Listen and read it on my Kindle, so it made it easy to click the links. Yes. I loved Ian's voice, but not sure it matched an emancipated man. Yeah.
I think she meant emaciated.
Did I say it wrong, or did she spell it wrong?
I'm saying I think like she's talking about how emaciated and like weak and frail looking.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I don't think that's the right word, but I'll just go with it. So, okay. So moving on, what were your first initial thoughts of the book? So like the first like 20-ish%. What'd you think?
I didn't really have I didn't really have much of an opinion. I was trying to remain neutral because I have a very interesting relationship with thrillers right now. Like it takes a lot for them to wow me. So I was just trying to, not put it on a pedestal because I had seen a lot of really, really great reviews and I was trying to like rein it in because if I had too high of expectations, then I was going to get let down. So I was, that early in the book, I just,
just going with the flow.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting in the beginning. I feel like you're kind of introduced to the types of people that she interviews, and you can I feel like that sets the pace for the rest of the book, like how disturbing it's going to be. And I feel like even just like the descriptions of Ian were like just very unsettling, and it made me want to know more. So I feel like that's what kind of sucked me in, and it was a good time.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, I feel like even the first guest with like the dog, I was like, oh my gosh, like what if this is like really dark and I'm making everyone read this book and we're not even like the first like 20% in. But thankfully it didn't go where I thought it was going to go. But yeah, like you said, like just like the description of Ian and like even the description, I can't remember if this was in the first 20%, but even like the description of like her mother's death. And like, I don't know, I was intrigued and I felt like we got exactly like what the back of the book was about versus like, oh, this is what it's about, but you're not going to get to this till the last 80%, which I hate when people do that. So I felt I was in for the ride, if that makes sense. Just listened. I did go back and watch the videos you posted. Yes. So in the physical book, there's like QR codes. And I think, Brandon, yours had links on your Kindle, right?
It did, yeah. And then they took me nowhere. So,
so I went and did the QR codes, and they are posted in Discord, but there's only 3. I wish there was a little bit more, which we'll get into that a little bit later. So those are available in Discord for you to enjoy. I thought, how is this going to last another 75%? I feel you on that. I was script from the beginning for sure in the end, but the middle dragged a bit and felt repetitive. I gotcha. I was so scared that Bailey would die. I worried the whole time. Yes, I did too. So worried about the dog and cat the whole time, ready to throw the book at the wall. Hey, Leah, not staying here because I read this. I will read this eventually, but I wanted to say hi. Well, hello. Yay, it's Brandon.
So sweet.
Oh, my links took me places. That was a bummer. Which I don't know if you're like on an iPad reading it, maybe, but I don't know how that would work on a Kindle. I don't know. Anyways.
Well, like Kobos have like an internet browser on them. So like it should just realistically just open that, but it just takes you to a blank screen. So I don't know.
I got you covered. I'm posting links. Let's see. I've never seen Brandon in real life. He's real.
I'm not fake.
He had a whole confession at the beginning, so you have to go back and watch that. Hello. Yes, I was on an iPad. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so would you say this book is more plot-driven or character-driven?
It was, I feel like, a good mix, probably primarily plot-driven, but a good mix just because we do learn a lot about the characters, and I feel like the rate at which we learn more about their past and who they are as people, it worked really well with the flow of the story.
Yeah.
So I thought it was character driven instead.
Interesting.
I feel like the plot kind of took a backseat a little bit. Like I feel like the whole book is just kind of about Poe's sort of self-discovery and kind of identifying like the grief that she's feeling and the trauma that she's gone through and like processing it, and also like processing it with other people. So I don't know. I feel like that's why I thought it was character driven, but
that's so interesting.
I feel like it was a good, healthy mix, but I feel like there were some times where she's like, okay, this is solely character, but then it would get back into like an even mix. Because like, I think it was the part where we're like, okay, this dude thinks or is claiming to be the real, I forgot who was the murderer, but like claiming to be the person that actually killed the mother, and it was just like kind of like at a standstill of like, oh, what do we do? But yeah, so I see both, but I feel like it was more mixed in my opinion. What does everyone else in the comments think? Let me know. I thought it was also character driven. Who are these people? What are their stories? That's true. That's true. But I also feel like with the two different timelines where we're going back to like this is happening right now, I feel like that also added more plot driven.
Mm-hmm.
So Post podcast allows her guests to confess their secrets and crimes anonymously. Why do you think people would want to do this, especially for the whole world to know?
Probably just to get it off their chest, especially like if they've never told a single person, like that would really eat away at you, especially as time goes on. If you're feeling guilty about it, or if you've just really changed as a person, it just might kind of free you a little bit to get it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. Like I also feel like if we're looking at more like darker crimes, I guess, like I feel like a lot of those people are sort of narcissistic and they want people to know what they've done. Like, you know, like how killers like will leave like certain like clues and stuff like to identify themselves without getting caught. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's probably just them kind of wanting to like maybe feel accomplishment, but like not get caught in the process.
I can maybe understand if someone's like on their deathbed and they just had to like reveal something that happened. But yeah, I guess like a little mixture of both. Like, I guess it just depends, because I think besides the two, we really don't really see any other guests that have been on our show or know. I mean, we just kind of assume. But yeah, I think I would have liked to know. I mean, hopefully not too dark, but like I would kind of like to know what, like a list of things that they've seen or revealed or confessed on it. So let's see. Amy thought that it was a mixture of plot and character, and the thrill of reliving the crime. They were bragging. Yeah, I can see that. That's why I chose therapeutic as one word. Since it's a podcast, it's meant to see. It wasn't meant to see their faces. That's true. So I don't know. It's a very interesting concept. I don't know how I would feel about actually listening to a podcast like that. I think that'd be interesting. Poe is in a relationship with Kip, and she has been hiding a secret from him this whole time. If you did something as awful as what Poe did, would you keep it from your partner?
Yes.
I also say yes.
Take it to the grave.
I don't know if I could. I don't know. Like, that's a tough one.
I also feel like, did this happen when I was with like my husband? Or did this happen prior to meeting him? Because if it happened prior, like,
that's fair.
Yeah. But like if I like did this yesterday, I may not be able to hold it together. He may find out anyways. But I don't know. I guess it just depends on when things happen for me.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do not condone murder. Let me just say that up front. So, let's see. Lauren says she also agrees it was a mix of plot and character. Abso-freaking-lutely, she told him, and I was like, girl, he's gone. I feel like I would want to know if my partner committed a crime like that. So I need to share so they could make an informed decision if they wanted to stay with me or not. That is true. I'll give you that. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Where's my mouse? There it is. When Ian breaks in, I totally misspelled that. When Ian breaks into Poe's house, he moves one of her photos. How observant are you with your surroundings, both in your home and outside of your home? And would you recognize something as, similar as a picture being moved?
I I feel like I would notice, but I would think that I'm crazy or like I'm more observant than I think I am. So something would be like niggling at the back of my brain, and I'd be like, something's off, but I don't know what it is exactly. So I don't think I would catch on to that like she did. I thought that was pretty clever, but
Mhm.
I feel like I would notice, like I'm definitely a very observant person. And I feel like in our home, like everything has a place. So like if I
Mhm.
see something that's not where it's supposed to be, I'm like, why is that there? Like who touched this? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I definitely would. Like, I don't know. I just yeah.
I feel like I would not notice, but I feel like I would also make up things in my head and be like, this was turned like 45 degrees yesterday. Why is it perfectly straight? Like that like one of my biggest fears is that someone breaks into our home or we have squatters that are going to kill me. That's like one of my biggest fears in
Oh
my home.
God.
But like outside my home, I am like very observant. Like this, like a dude walking behind me a little too long. Nope, I don't like it. So maybe I just create the chaos that's not needed. But oh well. Let's see. I am so oblivious, but luckily my husband notices tiny details. I'd never know my neighbors come over and put random things in my home all the time. It takes weeks or months for them to find. What kind of things? Interesting.
Just random items.
Yeah, just like little tiny things. I know I'll notice, especially in my bedroom. Yeah. My house is a chaotic mess. It would have to be something very specific. I do take a level to my pictures once a week, though.
really,
Okay, so
I don't got the time for that. Like this painting, this is probably so crooked.
I definitely think I would notice. I would eventually notice, but it might take a while. I got that. Probably wouldn't notice. I have crap everywhere. I don't know if that made it sound better, but an old engagement photo of them was one. It sits on my mantle. Oh, interesting.
it's funny.
Have you seen the photo where like or not the photo, like I think it's the video of like people going to grandma's house for Christmas, but they wrap grandma's items and gift it to themselves. And then the grandma's like, "Oh, I have a pair just like those." And it's actually her item. I love that. Okay. Poe's dog, Bailey, is often her source of comfort throughout the book. Do you have a beloved pet or an object that always brings you a sense of peace and calm?
I do have a dog, but we haven't had him super long. So like I feel like I've not really formed that bond with him yet. But as far as another item, like I don't really have any safety item at all. I should probably get one. That probably explains a lot of my anxiety, but yeah.
For me, sadly, no pets. Hopefully a dog soon. But for something that like I guess would bring a sense of peace and calm, like I don't know, do books count? Like
Yeah.
I feel like I always carry a book around with me, like to work or like appointments. Like I'll just carry things. So yeah.
Going back to the last question, if there's a book missing off my bookshelf, I would so know because I know where every single book is on the shelf most of the time. For me,
you didn't know where that recommendation was though.
See, if I knew what it was called, I would know where it is on the shelf. But because I'm doing it in reverse, I don't know what it is.
Got it.
For me, I would say my dog, my oldest dog, definitely brings me peace and calm. But also my husband, like, I don't know. He's my little security blanket, so he can't go nowhere. Otherwise, I'd find him. So, let's see. Okay, my daughter wanted to do that to her sister this year, but we forgot to grab things for. Oh, like that video. That's funny. I used to steal stuff from my mother-in-law and gift it to her as Christmas. That's a confession. You need to put that in the thing because that's hilarious. She never noticed this stuff was missing. I will say I've gotten gifts that I don't like, and I will regift them sometimes to the person that gave it to me.
Oops.
Never
That's
noticed.
crazy.
Charlie is definitely my buddy, but she's a daddy's girl. I have a cat, which she's currently laying next to me now. Oh, cute. Yes, my cat. I hug her during the workday when I'm stressed. Does your cat like that, or does it just take called out? Emotional support books, Kindles are a real thing. I totally agree on that. I completely forgot about the live tonight, but so I'm really late. No worries, no worries. You got plenty of time. Okay, so what do you think of Poe's sleuthing and decision making in New York when she was hunting her mother's killer? Do you think she made wise, careful, thought out decisions, or was she acting irrationally and impulsively the whole time?
I mean, she probably could have been a little better about it, but for the most part, like, I totally support what she did because, I mean, trying to think of being in her shoes, witnessing that, like, that's going to do something to you as a person. So,
Yeah.
I mean, good for her.
Yeah. I thought it was clever that she, like, a little bit morbid, but like created a fake dating profile for her mom and like used her picture to basically lure the guy out. I thought that was clever. Kind of everything after that. Like, sure, it was well thought through, but I mean, was it? Probably not. But I mean, like, she did get arrested at the end. But
Yeah.
I think she could have, like, once she sort of identified the guy, I think she should have went to the police and then went from there. But
Yeah. I agree. I was gonna say, I feel like, because I would have never thought of putting my mother's photo on a dating profile. I would have never thought of that to like
yeah.
find the dude. So I feel like that was really smart. But I do feel like after the act of everything, I feel like she should have made like better decisions after that. It almost sounded like she didn't have a game plan after. She was just so focused on like the actual thing. So, yeah, I mean, she did better than I could, so no sleuthing for me. Let's see. Yvette wants to know, it was consensual hugging. That's good. I thought it was very reckless. Danger, danger. Nice. Okay, so before the big reveal, before you found out who was who and what was what, did you believe Ian Henley was who he was claiming to be, or did you have other theories?
I was convinced that the person that she unalived was the correct person. So I knew that he wasn't who he was claiming to be, but I had no theories of, who he was.
Right. Yeah, I kind of felt the same. I didn't really know like the why or who exactly. I did think that Kip was gonna have a bigger sort of role.
I did too.
Like on the more sinister side of things, but yeah, no, other than that, like I kind of just went along with it. I was like, I don't really know. So
Yeah. So I was reading it and I was like, is this the guy? Is this not the guy? And so I was like, okay, if it is the guy, does that make me like the book more? If it's not the guy, does this make me like the book more or not like the book more? And then I was theorizing that Kip had something to do with it just because he, I guess, like spoke to the guest or Ian before everything went live. So I was like, okay, he's behind it. He's getting close to her to like, I don't know. I felt like because he did all the back end stuff that he was part of it, but
right.
Unfortunately, he was not. I mean, well, fortunately for Poe,
Yeah.
he wasn't. So, but unfortunately for the story, I felt like
yes,
I would have really liked Kip to have had something.
Yeah.
Well, it's just Ian knew so much about like her mother's death. So like it was like, how does he know this stuff though? Like where does he fit in this connection? And that's why I was like, well, the only other character that's really around is Kip. Because like I didn't think her dad had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it wasn't. So
Yeah. Agreed.
I sorry,
Go ahead.
I had about Kip, I thought maybe he had something to do with something, but I didn't think it was like he was feeding information to Ian
Mm,
because she like we know when she told him, right? When she
Mhm.
told Kip everything. So he
right.
didn't know about it prior to that. But we can do like full spoilers, right?
Yeah.
At this point. Okay. At the end when Ian was saying that they had another brother, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, it's Kip. That's what
Yeah,
I was thinking.
true. I
Yeah.
forgot about that part. Oh yeah, that's right.
Michelle said she was definitely reckless. It was kind of annoying at times. I was literally yelling at her. I thought the man she killed was maybe her mother's killer's son. Yeah, I also thought that maybe Ian was, because I didn't know, I knew he looked horrible, but I didn't know how old he was. So I was like, maybe this is like the son, but I never thought of like brothers. So my bad. No, I had somewhat suspected he had something to do with the person she actually killed, but didn't know what. I think the author did well enough job of making the reader wonder if Poe did take out the right person. That was the other thing. Like when she was talking to her dad and she's like, how sure are you? She's like, oh, like 70%. I'm like, that is
What
way
do
too
you
low
mean?
of a number. Like, what do you mean? 7 years ago, you was 100% sure. So I thought Kip was involved too. So, okay. So Kip and Poe end up together at the end of the book. Would you be able to be in a relationship with someone like Poe's past, who had a past like Poe? And could you ever forgive their actions or crime?
I think in general it would be difficult, but considering what they went through together at the end,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of probably helped bring them closer together. So
Yeah.
it made
Mhm.
sense for the story, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of just going back to like what we were talking about before, like in terms of like when it happened and the timeline. Like I feel
Yeah.
like if I was with someone for 6 months and I found this out, like I don't know if I would
Yeah.
still stick around. But if this is like a 5+ year relationship, like I don't know, I feel like I'd have some serious thinking to do. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously depending on like the crime and what they did and why, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so that's kind of where I would fall.
Yeah. I also feel like if it's the same, like for me, if like I find out my husband 7 years ago hunted someone down, I'd be like, but if it was like an act of self defense or something,
Mhm,
like I could like easily forgive that,
right.
obviously.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I thought he was maybe a brother or related, but thought that was too on the nose. I say yes in this particular case because it was a revenge thing rather than her being a murderer.
Mhm.
True. I would like to know ahead of time though. Yeah. Like if you could just like forewarn me that you've murdered someone
Put it on your
and
Tinder profile.
yeah, like yeah, exactly.
Long walks on the beach,
Yeah.
murder
Well,
Thursday night.
even for like Kip, like to find that out, but also like
Mhm.
she's his boss too. So that's kind
Oh,
of
yeah, yeah.
knowing that she got the right guy. I think I could forgive it, but knowing she did it and wasn't sure, that would give me a pause. Yeah, I don't think I could unless it was self defense. True. Okay, how does trauma affect the characters in the book? Consider the past of Poe, her father, Kip, Alice, Bailey, all that.
I mean, like I kind of said earlier, I think what Poe witnessed and at the age of which she witnessed it,
Mm-hmm.
like that had such an impact on her development as a person and just mentally. So I mean, that's obviously going to be a huge part of who she is as a person. And I really like I completely forgot about Alice, so thank you for mentioning her. But I kind of really liked her character and I liked that she and Poe were able to finally meet and kind
Mm-hmm.
of, have a bit of a friendship there just because they both went through something pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with like you, Elise, too, like what you were saying. And I think like we see different levels of trauma in like all 4 of the characters that like are the main characters, I guess you would say. Like with Poe, like we kind of see like how her anxiety is with this kind of thing, and like how, you know, obviously her dog brings her a lot of comfort and things like that. I think it's mentioned that she's on medication at some point too.
I think
maybe.
so.
So like, yeah, so you definitely hear from like her side, and then also I feel like you kind of see it in her dad. Like I know when Poe is kind of telling him like everything that happened, he kind of starts getting like, I don't want to hear this, like, you know, like don't tell me. And like, but I think at the end of the day, like he just cared so much about his daughter that like he worked past that kind of trauma for himself. And then like Kip had trauma as well, I think. Obviously not as much as the other characters, not dismissing abuse or anything, because I think his father abused him, I think. Yeah, I think he like beat him or something like that, but that got brought up. And then yeah, obviously Alice as well. But I think the interesting thing about Alice is that I think she's the one out of all of them that dealt with her trauma and grief like in the best way. Like she overcame it, and then also kind of like focused her energy into more of like a positive thing. Like she had that outreach program that she developed and stuff. I think it was specifically for women. But yeah, I found her character really interesting. So yeah.
I mean, basically same thing for y'all. I know like when Poe was finding out things about her mom, she was like, oh, my mother is having an affair and cheating on my dad. Like that could be kind of traumatizing, but obviously what she got to witness was way more than she bargained for. So yeah, I could not imagine going through all that. Same thing with, you know, her dad and like kind of getting like defensive and angry. And I guess like him being a parent, like he just didn't want to hear that his daughter did bad things. And I know could be really hard to like hear from anyone. Same thing with like Kip and Alice and everything. So yeah, totally agree with everything. Let's see. I agree, Lauren. Gwen liked Alice too. She was literally a survivor. I liked Alice too, and apparently she came from another boo. Another book?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was actually going to mention that later on. But yeah, he wrote one of his previous books is basically about Alice's story.
Oh,
that's cool. I just got chills.
Because yeah, there's an author's note at the very end. I don't know if it's in the physical copies.
I need to start reading the author's.
But he mentions that I think he mentions like he wanted to include her in the story, and he felt like that it would be the perfect time, like just given Poe's character. So yeah, like I guess she has her own book. So
interesting.
Really cool.
The scenes with Poe and Alice were some of the most enjoyable characters to write, and I'll be curious if they end up working together. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look more into that. I did not. Look at you doing your research. I love it.
He's so prepared.
I know. His book. Okay,
Yeah,
Mr. Tinder's Girl is Alice's book. Okay, I saw that in there, but I didn't see it on the back of the book, so I'll have to look that up. That's so interesting. Okay. Thanks, Angel. I want to read Alice's book. Yeah. I want to read Alice's now too. Sounds interesting. I like the connection. Yeah, I love like Easter eggs like that. Like that's one of my favorite things ever. Okay, moving on. Do you think there is a moral difference between the murder of a bad person versus the murder of a good person?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I say yes.
So.
Yeah. We'll just end with that.
Well, like obviously like the murder of a good person is not good. But like I don't know, like if someone murdered my whole family in front of me and then they were going to come for me next, like I don't think I would just sit there and be like,
You'd be
guess I'm done.
Touch these hands.
Right? Like, let's go. But I mean, at the end of the day, just don't murder people. It's bad. Just don't do it.
I
Do
want to put
something
that
else.
as a quote. Just don't murder people. Wait, that 3 words. Don't murder people. Love
There
it.
you go. Easy.
Morally just. I want to read Alice's. Oh wait, I've already read this one. Justified. Yes. Totally agree. Like, I mean, I kind of feel like bad is bad, but I also feel like there's definitely levels of bad.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. Okay, so this book had a few QR codes or links in the book that made the whole reading experience a little more interactive. Did you look at the QR codes and what did you think?
They were very cringy, I felt.
Yes.
The picture frame one was okay, but the other two that was literally just her acting out the scene that we just read,
Yeah.
like I had secondhand embarrassment a little bit. And at first I wish that there had been more QR codes.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately I'm like, nope, 3's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if they were done differently, I would have wanted more. But like as soon as I watched the first one, I was kind of like, what is this? Like no disrespect to the actors or anything, but yeah, it was cringy. But did you guys also see Grady Hendrix's book in the background on her bookshelf in the first video? Yeah, How to Sell a Haunted House. It was like on the bookcase behind her. I thought that was so funny.
Someone posted a photo, like I didn't see it until like maybe 10 minutes before we went live.
Oh, okay.
But someone posted like all the books that were on that bookshelf is like How to Sell a Haunted House, The New Neighbor, which I think is one of these books. The Golden Couple, Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda. I think there's the Southern Guide to Slaying Vampires is also in the back.
Okay.
So
that's funny.
I personally thought the same thing. It was definitely cringy. I thought it was going to be something like, I don't know, like evidence type things, but it was the first one I read. I was like, I just read this. Why am I watching this?
Yeah.
And then the second one, I was like, oh, okay, because like I don't think I like comprehended that the message was behind the photo, like in the frame. I don't think I caught that, but like. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the third one. I was like, I don't really care. Like, this is really creepy.
Yeah, I only watched the first one because I thought they were all going to be like that. So,
well, the second one was, but the third one, I have no idea.
I just thought it was going to be like found footage or something.
Yes.
Like him, like maybe like found footage of like Ian like sneaking around her house or something. Like I thought it was going to be
that would have been cool,
right? So when I saw there was QR codes, I was like, oh, this is like really cool. And then the first one, I was like, yeah, this ain't it. This is not good. Like,
yeah. I do think though, like if other authors want to do that, that would be so cool. But like maybe put the money into making it cool in a way. Because I was like, I feel like we're at the author's house and this is someone that he knows. Maybe it's his wife. I don't know. But this was super cringy.
It's like, hey, honey, I got an idea for date night. Like,
yes. It was like, I don't know. But I do think like if books wanted to do that, that would be so cool. So I like the idea. Sure. Execution though, no. Let's see. The Alice's book is on Kindle Unlimited for those who are wondering. I was more terrified to open them than to watch them. Yeah, I thought the girl was super creepy too. They made me. We did not. I liked the QR codes, but thought they were going to be amazing. I thought it was a clever idea, but failed. They weren't. I looked at the shelf too. It was definitely cringy. I just listened to the audios, so didn't have them. I watched like 30 seconds of one you posted, Jess, and I was like, nah, this is dumb. Yeah, I agree. Was that an actor? I was so confused. The beginning comment thinking the police made me think it was something from outside a real crime. Yeah. No. I thought it would be blood or clues too. She was on why is this not loading? She was an actor on an episode of Law and Order, so even more annoying. That was so bad. Okay.
Yikes.
Okay, what
How many
strengths do you
episodes?
think? Yeah. I don't
One.
watch Law and Order, but like I know that would be annoying too. What strengths do you think the book had, and what weaknesses?
I think a strength is just how fast paced it was. And
Mhm.
I don't know if that was just the flow of the story, the length of the chapters, a little bit of both. So definitely a strength there. I feel like the struggle for me, anyways, I didn't think the twist was that twisty. And I felt like the ending, it ended just a little too positively.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I was expecting another kind of little crumb of, oh no,
Yeah.
you know?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked how it ended. I liked how it was plotted. Like, I think everything got kind of tied up in a nice little bow. Like, I mean, like, there's one thing that didn't really get answered. We're not really sure on if there is a third brother or not.
Mhm.
But other than, like, I don't know, I felt like everything was like tied up nicely. But for a weakness, like, I think I would have liked a little bit of a twist at the end, but I feel like we've just become so conditioned with thrillers to expect that when we don't get that, we kind of feel like, oh, like, well, that was kind of not great. But
Mhm.
I don't know, there's just something very like simple about this plot that I enjoyed, and I don't think I
Yeah.
necessarily needed that twist to make it a good book.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with what you just said. I was talking to Gwen after I read this, and she mentioned this is a great beginner thriller.
Mm.
Like it's not
that's
too
true. Yeah.
twisty. I mean, it was very enjoyable. I think the strengths were super fast paced, even though it was 100 chapters. I was like, holy crap, what did I sign up for? But like literally some of the chapters were like 1 page long. So definitely fast paced. I like the layout of it being like past leading in, like the past is leading up to what's currently going on.
Mhm.
I liked how that, I love the dual narration. I think
Mhm.
the weaknesses, like the whole time, like even leading up to the house, like when she realizes where Ian is, I was like, okay, obviously this is about to go down. We're going to throw hands. Someone's going to die. Someone's going to get caught. Someone's going to go to jail. I was like, okay, if this is the guy that really murdered her mom, am I going to be upset? And again, if it's not, am I going to be upset? Didn't know what the twist was, but I was like, it can go either way. So I feel like I would have liked another twist to kind of throw me off my tracks because the whole time I'm like, is this the guy? Is this not the guy?
Mhm. That's
But yeah. Let's see. The ending was weak. I love that. Where did I leave off of? Okay. It kept me engaged, really wanted to know what happened. I also cared about the characters a lot. True. Let's see. In the author's note, that was a clip. He spoke instead of wrote it out. I don't understand. It was also in the author's note that was also a clip, and he spoke it instead of wrote it. The ending was weak. Gwen says strength, readability, weakness, the reveals. The house was literally mentioned, and I completely forgot about the house, so I'm glad you caught on to that. Also, the QRs were not great. Maybe in the sequel we'll find out. Like the Allison Poe book had to do with brother number 3. Interesting. Fast pace, kept me on my toes. Weakness, no twist, lots of plot holes.
I thought that said face paint for some reason. I was so confused.
Yeah, just, the strengths that had a lot of face paint. I think this was a great book for beginners. Yeah, like I mentioned, love the short chapters. Why did the serial killer of 6 women let her live?
That's a fair question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Simplicity. Podcast format with with the 2 timelines was cool. Yeah. Poe said how unattractive this man was, but then Ian/Leo said he used to be a handsome man. Maybe he thought that, but he really wasn't. Who knows?
I mean, maybe like the time and his brother having been murdered just like really did not
Yeah.
do anything.
He had his own trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
Stress does a number. It does.
Okay, so going back into what Brandon mentioned earlier, is there any unanswered questions?
Yeah, like Brandon said, the whole brother thing. And like,
Oh, yeah.
now that because Brandon, you said something about the way that the ending was. And maybe if there is another book that kind of takes from this, like maybe Kip could be the third brother, like, because we don't know for sure. Because that's kind of what I was expecting, like the way it was ending.
Yeah.
And didn't Alice like come to visit her or send her a letter or something? And I was expecting a bit of a reveal, like
right.
to do with Kip. So, but maybe that could still happen.
I also missed the whole third brother thing, so
it was like, it was briefly, I think when she goes to like stab him at the end, he's like,
wait,
no. Yeah, he's like, don't do this, or like, there's another one of us that'll come after you and your family. Yeah. So, but again, was he just saying that because he's like, don't kill me? Like, or was he actually telling the truth? I don't know.
Okay, I remember that now. I was like, wait, what third brother? Because I totally suspect Kip. Surprise! Okay, if you could change one thing about the book, what would you change and why?
I wanted the twist to hit harder because it just didn't for me.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted Kip to be involved. Like,
that's Kip pretty much
bad. It. Yeah. Just add more trauma to this girl. Why not? Like,
right. Now she can't trust any man.
I agree with Elise. I just feel like, but also maybe I've just read so many thrillers. But I also feel like because the whole time I'm like, is this the guy? Is this not the guy? I feel like something like completely left field would have like completely rocked my world. You know what I mean? I also feel like the QR codes could have been better, but we've already touched on that. So, because especially at the beginning, it's just like, oh, like interactive things. I was like, ooh, okay, I picked a good one. Let's see. She was dumb to go in that house alone. I also agree. Like, why? Unrealistic that she guessed he was there. I forgot about the house. So,
didn't he?
Did you guys pick up on the house like beforehand?
I did not.
Because as soon as she said that, like, oh, that house is empty, like the people that used to live there like moved out a long time ago, I just thought like there's someone in there, like something's going on.
I think that's what Gwen said too, and I was like, oh, I totally did not even pick up. I must have been cleaning really hard at that time. I would have liked to get to know Poe more. Also, the dad had weird strengths at the end, which the author harped on. Yeah, I loved the dad. Even though he also was unfaithful, he had his own flaws too.
Yeah.
Wasn't invested enough in the outcome because I really didn't know Poe. The crime footage should have been better. It was a missed opportunity. Yeah. Well, not like that. I feel like, I mean, just based on the two, it was literally replaying the scenes that we had just read. It was nothing extra to the story. It was just visuals.
And especially if you were listening to it on audio, it's like, I literally just heard this.
Yes.
It's like, there's no difference.
Yeah. Like there was like maybe pauses in between lines, not going at 3 times the speed for me, but let's see. Yeah, Gwen guessed she was there. So Too Dumb to Live. Ian really never killed anyone. So what if he had the ability to kill Poe? I thought that was interesting that Poe was more of a murderer than Ian. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is. Exactly, Brandon. The house was so obvious. Look at an empty house. Guess we're going over there. I swear I must have blocked the whole house part out. It was so obvious with the house. It should have been mentioned earlier in the story. It should have been mentioned. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad I'm not alone. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to reveal our final star rating. If you have not mentioned what you rated the book, now is your chance to let us know. So Elise, what did you end up rating this book?
I ended up rating it 3.5 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I wanted to keep reading it, so I feel like I got through it pretty quickly. But like I said, a little disappointed that the twist didn't slap me in the face, and probably won't remember much of it. So
Yeah.
I ended up
Okay.
giving it a 4. So
Okay.
yeah, no, I had a good time. Like I feel like it read so quick. Like I found myself when I stopped reading it, I would want to go back and pick it up again. And I feel like when a book does that, I quite enjoy it. And like, yes, it didn't have the twist. Like it was a pretty, like starter thriller. I don't know. I just thought it was a good time.
Nice. I also, so if I did half stars, I think a 3.5 would have been perfect. But I don't think it was quite a 4-star. So I was like, well, maybe after this discussion, it'll be a 4-star, but I do think it's like a solid 3 for me. But I mean, I would totally read more by this author. Especially now that I know Alice has her own book. I think that's so interesting. So yeah, I mean, definitely I'm glad I picked it up. Especially podcast thrillers. Podcast thrillers are my favorite. So, but I really enjoyed it. So nothing too crazy, but it was not terrible at all. And I think also with it being super fast paced definitely helped. I would say I did not read at night because stalker books while living alone are not where it's at. Oh, that is exactly where it's at. You know, I only watch scary movies when my husband goes out of town, and then I complain about it after the movie. So let's see. I don't read many male authors, so excited to read more from him. True. Yeah. Okay. Few more questions and then we will end. Now that we have read Tell Me What You Did, do either of you plan to read more books by him by the future? I think we've kind of mentioned that, but just and which ones? The Alice book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think I definitely would check that one out. I think it's I'd have to look into this more, but like, do you guys know that story about like the Slender Man case? The Alice's story sounds very similar to that, where like two girls basically stab another girl because a fictional character told them to.
Oh.
So I'm gonna love that.
So that's the connection I made. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but yes, I would like to check that one out for sure. So
nice. I'll be honest, I haven't looked into any of his other books, but I mean, I am interested in looking them up. And now that I know Alice has her own story, and now that Brandon says it sounds very familiar of like the Slender Man case, I would absolutely love that. Let's see. I read scary books while hubby is away too. Yeah, it just like sets the vibe, you know. Not the same. I do think Poe was a man at the beginning because the author's writing style felt very masculine. I'm excited to read more about the books by him, though. Nice. Oh, wait, right to Slender Man. Yeah, I'm probably going to pick that up real soon. Okay, so do you have any book recommendations if people liked or did not like this book?
So I have one recommendation for both if you liked it or didn't like it. And that is The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead.
Ooh.
I still need to read that one.
Oh, it's pretty good. So basically if you didn't like this one, like if it wasn't dark enough, if it didn't go hard enough, then I think The Last Housewife would be really good. And likewise, if you did like this and you wanted more of that, because there is the podcast element. I felt it was pretty fast paced and it is super, super dark.
Nice. I like it.
And then for my recommendations, I have 2. It's mostly if you enjoyed this book and if you're sort of looking for more podcast stuff. Megan Golden, she has a series where the main character is basically a podcaster. So there's The Night Swim and then also Dark Corners by her. The Night Swim is more like courtroom based. So I remember listening to the audiobook for that one, and it's fantastic. Like it's almost like you're sitting in the courtroom. So definitely check those out if you want more of the podcast stuff.
Yeah. I agree with both of them. Some other podcast thrillers, I like Listen for the Lie. That's weirdly one of my favorites. I don't know. I know people don't love it as much as I do, but I just really, really enjoyed it. And then the other one I would mention is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. And the other book is by Amy Tintero. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Both have podcast elements in them. I feel like they have more of a production out of them. And I had another recommendation, but of course, I don't know where any of my books are because probably something's out of place, and that's why I can't find it. So, but we'll just end there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being my co-host this month. This was super fun, like talking about the book, having reading sprints. I hope you guys, I'm glad that you guys overall really enjoyed this book. So that makes me super happy. So yeah, everyone, make sure you go check out their channels / Instagram. I do have that linked in the description box. Next month, we are going to be reading A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. I'm really excited because I really enjoy Kate Alice Marshall's writing. It says a whirlwind romance. Stay away from the male main character because this character has been here before. So kind of a last hurrah on winter thrillers, I think, but I'm really excited to read this one. Has anyone read this one yet?
It's been sitting on my shelf probably for the past 3 months because I knew it was going to be like the March pick. So it's just chilling there waiting. So
I know I have the audiobook and everything ready to go. I'm like super excited to read this one. This is going to be co-hosted by Hannah from the Teachers TBR, as well as Leah, who was in the comment section earlier. Her channel is Leah Beth Book Time. The live show is March 31st, 2025, obviously at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here, also check out Discord for more fun. Hopefully there will be no more murder. Oh, actually, before we end, do we have any more confessions? No, you guys are lame. So make sure you go make a confession. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me, everyone, for the discussion in the comment section. And yeah, I will let you guys all go and have a good night. Bye.
See ya.